Hello, it's Andy here, and today we're going to be going over the custom breakthrough template. The template includes multiple maps, as well as the full code and spatial files to help you add breakthrough to any map. We'll go over the included template files, and take a look at what's required in order to get breakthrough working on your map. Then we're going to have a look at the breakthrough layout using the template. First, go to the link in the description, which will take you to the bfportal.gg page, which includes the latest information. From here, there will be a link to edit the template, which will allow you to save a copy for yourself. The code in the experience handles everything for us. However, I've included some variables at the top of the mod, including the toggle to enable or disable the AI, set the reinforcements for the attackers, the bonus tickets for the attackers per sector, as well as the amount of time for each sector. I've also included a link that will download a copy of the spatial files for Godot, the exported maps, and a copy of the block code. In some cases, when taking a copy of the experience, the code or maps may be lost. However, you can import them again with the included files. Now let's set up Godot for the template. Once you have downloaded the files, go to your Godot installation and export the spatial files into the levels folder. You may want to create a new folder for breakthrough for better organisation. Now when you're in Godot, you will see these new maps. Open one of them up and you'll see in the examples provided that I've set up the sectors, which include the sector, a polygon volume, an area trigger, the capture points, and a HQ for each team, including their spawns. The only exception is the first and last sector, which only includes the sector, a polygon volume, and an area trigger. This is for the first and last spawn protection for both teams. The important thing to note is the object IDs assigned to each element. This is important as the script relies on this information to automate everything for you. For example, Sector 0 uses an ID of 100. Sector 1 uses 101. And Sector 2 uses 102, and so on. The same will be for the HQs. Team 1 will use 301 for Sector 1, 302 for Sector 2. I'll put a graph on the screen just now to show you the object IDs for quick reference. You can have as many or as few sectors as you like, as it's fully automated. Now let's make a new layout. Copy an existing map and rename it. I like to move my maps into a breakthrough folder. Now open the new level. As we are using sectors, we no longer need the combat area polygon volume, so we can remove that. Now we can create our first sector for Team 1 spawn protection. Create a sector and place it roughly where you want. Give it an object ID of 100. Now we can add a polygon volume as a child to the sector and adjust it to our liking. You can add additional points by either pressing Ctrl and left click or going into the array and add element. Make sure to give it a height, otherwise it will not detect the players. Once finished, link the volume to the sector by clicking on the sector and set the sector area. Next, add an area trigger and set this as 600. Then set the area as the polygon volume. This triggers the out of bounds for the opposing team when they enter. We have now configured the first sector. We can now set up the next sector, which will contain the capture points and HQs. Let's copy the first sector with Ctrl D. This will save us a bit of time. Move the new sector and adjust the object ID of the sector to 101. And the trigger to 601. And just check that the polygon volumes are still linked. Add a capture point and give it object ID 1100. Add a polygon volume and set your capture area. Ensure it has a height, otherwise it will not work. Add spawns for Team 1 and Team 2. Now within the capture point, set the owner to Team 2. Then set the polygon volume and assign the spawns. You can duplicate the capture point with Ctrl-D and move it to your desired location. Give it a new ID of 1101. Double check the polygon volume is still linked. The custom UI supports up to 26 capture points per sector, or A to Z. Go to the sector and add the capture points to it. This will assign them with A and B within the game. To set up the spawns, move the existing HQs for Team 1 and Team 2 inside of Sector 1 in the hierarchy, and set their object ID to 301 for Team 1 and 401 for Team 2. Now move them to the centre of the sector, as this will show up on the deploy screen. Now you can move the spawners to your desired locations. You can also add vehicle spawners. Drag one onto the scene and give it an object ID of 1150. And select your choice of vehicle. Disable the auto spawn and set the respawn timer accordingly. This is to prevent it from spawning as the game starts. You can duplicate this and update it to object ID 1151. We have now created a sector with capture points. We can now set up the next sector by using Ctrl-D to duplicate sector 1 and move it to the desired location. Remember to update all of the object IDs. Now update the boundaries of the polygon volume, the capture point locations, the HQ positions and the spawn locations, and the vehicle spawns if required. Double check the sector and the area triggers are still linked to the polygon volumes, as there's a chance that these drop when you duplicate. Now we have 2 sectors with objectives. You can repeat this process to add as many sectors as you like. Once you have all of the sectors for your objectives, we need to finish one more for the Defender's HQ. Copy the final sector and remove the objectives and HQs. Now update the sector and the area trigger object IDs. If you don't add this last sector, then the game will end a sector early. To finish polishing, make sure the sector polygon volumes slightly overlap. This is to prevent the out of bounds from triggering when walking in between sectors. The last thing you'll need to add is an AI spawner. Add 2 of these and give them object ID of 901 and 902. This allows the custom bots to spawn in. We can now export the map and upload it onto the experience in the map rotation. Now you have a fully functioning breakthrough mode. I hope this has helped you get started. Good luck. But should you need it, feel free to ask away in the comments or join us on the Battlefield Portal Discord. See you there.